Welcome to the Woodpreneur Podcast, the best podcast for the business and marketing side of the sawmill, lumber, and wood industry. What's a woodpreneur? If you have a business where you make money as a woodworker, sawmill owner, selling slabs, or a content creator, then you're a woodpreneur. My name's Steve Larosiliere, and I started Woodpreneur Life, Acres of Timber, and the Woodpreneur Podcast just for makers, wood entrepreneurs, and small business owners just like you. We're on a mission to empower thousands of wood businesses to grow sustainably and put out great products. Each week, I interview makers, sawyers, content creators, and 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs that know the wood industry inside and out. With topics covering everything from the urban lumber movement, sustainable sourcing and design, we'll discuss the ins and outs of how to grow, monetize, and fully immerse yourself in the woodpreneur lifestyle. If you're a hobbyist, a full-time wood business owner, part-time entrepreneur who wants to become a content creator, or quit your day job to pursue your dreams, the Woodpreneur Podcast is just for you. Thanks so much for listening. Now enjoy this episode. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur Podcast. This is your host, Steve Larosiliere. Today's guest is Cody Powers from Cap Artistry. How you doing, Cody?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks
Good.
for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're on.
Yeah.
Hey, Cody. So Cody is part of the Woodpreneur Network, and he was like one of the first people to join this iteration of our community. And so he joined maybe, has it been 6 months?
It was mid-February. Yeah.
Yeah, so 6, 7 months. So before we kind of get into it, why don't you tell everybody about your background?
All right. So kind of quick story before I dove into my woodworking furniture building journey. I was used to work at U of M Hospital, just kind of cooking food in the union. Hated the union. I'm not that type of person. And I left that job and worked in a cabinet shop. And I was there for about 7 years. We did high-end cabinetry from, $20,000 kitchens to $150,000 kitchens. It was just me and one other guy, and I was the right-hand man. Actually, the original plan, I was going to take over the company. My name was in the will, but at the end of the day, I freaking hated going there every day. I was miserable, and I just knew this was not mentally healthy anymore. And I just, for the hell of it, opened up an Etsy account a fall of 22, and I ended up selling a coat rack for $86. I started crying on my way to work because a freaking door opened. I was like, man, is this a possibility? And then I found, the Woodpreneur podcasts on in 23, and I just started listening to you, and I realized there's a lot of guys out there that's in the same boat that was just, maybe selling little stuff and going from there. And next thing I know, fast forward to now, I quit all the small stuff and I'm selling dining tables and countertops, mantles. We got a treated table service now. I got couple of subcontractors. So if you got a tree in your yard and want it down and want a sentimental piece, we can turn that into furniture for you. So it's just been very good process so far, but slowly getting there.
What do you think you had to overcome in order for you to kind of get to where you are now?
Well, to be honest, meeting you, Steve, this network group really made me realize, just freaking believe in yourself and go for it. You don't have to work 70, 80 hours a week and build coat racks and cutting boards. Like you're just doing the same process, except on a bigger scale, and you're making more money. So you have to get out of that comfort zone. And once you do it once or twice, well, the next time it's easier and you're more confident and you learn. I've learned a shit ton in the last 6 months to a year since I flipped on doing the little stuff to going bigger.
Yeah.
It's been great.
What talk about the three things you learned aside from that. Like, what did you learn about yourself by being a part of the Woodpreneur Network?
I definitely learned about myself. There is a lot of opportunity out there, and there is a lot of people out there that you do not know who want to see you succeed. you think your closest people, your buddies that you hang out with for years are going to be the ones that push you, but it's the ones when you start actually diving into networking and Facebooking and entrepreneurs, those strangers, those are the ones that, are behind you saying, hey man, let's go, let's do this. And, I've never used social media up until I joined this network. And it was weird. I didn't like it at first. I was like, oh man, I don't want people to, I don't want to put myself out there. But then after you do it, it feels good, having empowering people, surrounding yourself by that. Just, don't follow all the negative shit. But, so,
Mm-hmm.
but that's one thing I learned. Again, there's a lot of possibilities. It just give it your all. Just, if you're going to go for it, go for it. Don't half-ass it. That's what you got to do.
All right. So the first thing that was that there are a lot of people out there that want to see you succeed, right?
Yes, sir.
What's the second thing you think?
The second thing would be, really opening up your mind to different possibilities and being willing to change what you're currently doing and being open-minded in order to grow your
Mm-hmm.
business.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, being open minded. And then what do you think the last thing is? Like, what's the thing that you think was like a big aha moment for you?
When you finally just decide to go for it and not really worry about what other people think,
That's
when
freeing, isn't it?
you're like, hey, and when you're vulnerable, when, I'm not out there saying, oh man, I'm the best furniture builder out there. I'll show, hey, yeah, I screwed this up, just, and it's at first, like, you don't want people to know you messed stuff up. But, it's what you do. It's what everyone does. Furniture builders or whatever you are, we mess stuff up, and you got to be willing to accept that and show other people that we're not perfect, and if people are upset about it, screw them. Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What talk about the first big month that you had in the program, like that first one where you sort of you broke past like what you thought was possible, bringing in yourself. Like, could you describe that month?
Yeah, so I don't have like the monthly breakdown right in front of me, but when I sold a mantle, a wraparound fireplace mantle for $2,400, and before that was nothing, I realized, like, oh my gosh, this I just sold something for $2,400 when 6 months ago I didn't even think that was possible,
Yeah.
and Steve, about that one. That was, credits on you helping me there too. So with Sophie, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So
that's a good story. Tell everybody about that.
yeah, so I had this mantle, a live edge wraparound fireplace mantle, and so all mitered, and everyone knows walls aren't square, so I was a little nervous about it, and it was the first bigger job I quoted for $2,400, and all of a sudden, and wasn't hearing back from the lady. Wasn't hearing back. I knew she just had a couple grandbabies, and she might message me, yeah, I'm thinking about it or whatever. And then Steve mentioned, hey, send her Sophie the giraffe or something. And so I was, which is, I don't know, something for babies, a little teether. So I did. And then she reached out to me like 2 weeks later, was like, oh, I got this. I was so thankful, blah, blah, blah. And I called her and asked her how the grandkids were and this and that. And next thing I know, she wanted to move. So I was pretty much radio silence for like, 4 weeks. And even though I was communicating, I wasn't getting anything. And once I sent her a gift, she realized, oh, wow, that was so thoughtful.
Yeah,
And then I sold the job. So thank
that's
you, sir, for that.
very, 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 very cool. How now talk about like the process being in the network. Can you tell me what it's like to be in a network, like on a weekly basis, and like what are the things that you do independently of the calls that we have?
So the network, one, the classroom, if you're online, there's a bunch of different videos that you can watch and go through. And once you sign up for the network, they're there, so if you don't have to remember what you did a few weeks ago or a couple months ago, you can go back and look in it. So if you forgot like how to, you need some more tips on personal branding or sales, whatever it might be, like I'll just kind of scroll through there and be like, oh yeah, and get through that. So it's nice to have that, classroom you can go into, and that's whenever you want, it's just online. And then, the weekly meetings, it's very nice. We have the group that, we do our Zoom meetings, we hear their struggles, we hear their wins, and we bounce some ideas back and forth. Or I'm like, hey, Steve, Alice, whatever, Tess, I'm struggling here. What do you recommend? And you get a couple of tips, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, or you give your own tips. It's just nice having that group that understands you. Like I could say things to my wife all day long, but she doesn't know anything about this. No offense to her, but you guys understand the, lumber, woodworking, furniture, language.
Yeah.
So, and the struggles. So it's just nice having that community to bounce, off ideas and feel the support. And when you get a win, they're right there with you. They're just screaming right next to you. It's great to have that.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the sort of biggest piece of advice that you've gotten, like that's really kind of changed your trajectory as an entrepreneur?
I know it might be a cliche, but to think big,
Mm,
to really think big and believe in it,
yeah.
to really push yourself and get out there and try new things. Because if you don't, you're going to be stuck in the same dang situation that you're in right now.
Yeah.
And that's where I was, man. I was desperate. I quit my job last July. Well, 23. February rolled around. I got zero money coming in, and I took a chance and invested with you, and I got that. It was a small investment that I wasn't sure how it was going to pay off,
Mm-hmm.
and it paid off tremendously. Not just financially, but like opening up my own personal self and realizing who I really am. And
Yeah.
you don't have to just hide in your garage all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Cody, you're super inspiring, man. Like I really love you being part of the network, and I love you just I don't know, your energy. I mean, you literally have taken this stuff that I've been teaching, and like you're making it your own, and you're doing it in your own way, and you've built this community around yourself. And it's not like you live in a large town either, right? Like,
So it's not small, Livingston County. Or we're not Ann Arbor, we're
yeah,
not, Chicago.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But yeah, there's definitely a lot more rural towns where I'm at, but it's not that big.
for sure, for sure.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome. So tell everybody about the big month that you had not too long ago.
Yeah. So I had a guy reach out to me who I met through a networking group, and because I'll go to little referral groups, but I was invited through that because of my pin post on Facebook. Someone saw and was like, "Oh man, I got to reach out to this guy. Can you come to this networking group?" I went to a networking group, met another guy, and he commissioned me to build a whale-shaped conference table, which is freaking sweet. That ended up being almost a $9,000 table, and I got a metal fabricator that has helped me out tremendously there. And I'm actually planning on dropping that off today. Going to depend on the weather here, but that month I sold alone. It was like I think $13,000. So
Amazing, amazing,
yeah, and
amazing. Yeah,
so
I
it
mean,
was
when you
rewarding.
have when you have a I mean, the so many points of where I want to go, but like when you have a breakthrough month like that for you, and especially like 3 to 6 months before that, you never broken 10K before, right? Like, does your
No,
does your does your mind does your mind like expand at that point?
well, yeah, because that happens. And then when I start bidding something for like $1,000, I'm kind of like, but I'm like, I don't really want to do that. But so you still do it, but that's kind of the limit, 1,200 is kind of normally my minimum. But yeah, all of a sudden now, like you want to take on these bigger jobs and you're more confident with it. So your mind does change. I would never sell like a coat rack again. Like I just wouldn't.
Yeah,
It's a waste of my time.
it's a waste of your
So,
time. Yeah, for sure,
mhm.
for sure. Um, so what's so you reached the milestone. Like what where do you see your business going from here?
Up,
Yeah.
just keep on going
What I
up.
mean, what kind of business do you want to build?
So, right now I'm still working out in my garage, and I have a few acres, so I do plan to put a shop on here. I want to build a high enough scale business where I can still, oversee day to day operations. And my main goal is, really getting my materials and parts made here in the US. Like my metal guy, he's 2 miles down the road from me. So just really kind of making it American made as, much as possible. And scaling it, soon into, a 6-figure business and see where it goes from there. I feel like my goals change. I think something I would really like to see happen is becoming known for being a tree to table guy. So I have that service I just started on my
Mm.
website, Sentimental Tree Service, and just being that guy where I have a backlog that people know me around here. And I got a guy that takes down the trees, and whether I'm milling it or I have a subcontractor doing it, depending on cost savings and how that works out. But I think that just having that story there is what people don't really realize that tables are made from trees. I've learned.
Yeah.
Like, so when I tell this, people are like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, people do it all the time."
Yeah, yeah.
But
Tables come from trees. Yeah.
people don't talk about it,
Yeah, yeah.
So, um, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, man. I feel like my goals change a little bit. Still
Yeah.
trying to figure
But
that out.
it's still heading in the same direction.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
But one thing I would say is when I did sell that high month for 13K or whatever, the mistake I made is I was like, okay, I have this, I have that, I have that. And I just started to let off the gas as
Yeah.
far as messaging people and doing that because now I'm overwhelmed, like, trying to figure out how to build this stuff. And I'm not as concerned about sales. But that was bad because August is already a slow month for people. And now it's September, an election year. Like now I'm like, all right, I need to make some sales. But if I would have been full on the grind and not have been overwhelmed, then I probably would feel a little better right now
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
it.
Well, I
So
mean,
don't let off the gas.
yeah, well, I forgot to tell you that, but that's literally what I tell people. It's like just because you had an amazing month, you chill. Everybody, it's just natural. Like you chill
Yeah.
because then you become overwhelmed with fulfilling and you need to keep the marketing engine and running.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you're not going to do it again. So,
Right. Yeah.
um, tell everybody why they should join the Woodpreneur Network.
I think you should join this network if you're willing to change. If you're full in on your business, you should join this network and you should be listen to what Steve and everyone has to say. If you're kind of half-ass on it, it's probably not the program for you. And it's like this. It's like you take your car into a mechanic and a mechanic tells you need A, B, and C, and you kind of know how to do it, but you end up not taking the mechanic's advice and then your car breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you probably should have listened to the mechanic who knows what he's doing. So go outside your comfort zone, join the network, see what they have to say, and be willing to adapt. If you're not willing to be open and minded and adapt, and just shut this podcast off, in my opinion. Like, because that, that was the one thing. I heard a podcast a while back with you guys, and before I, met you, and that was something that you said is, if you're not willing to change your mindset and be open-minded, then that tells me you're not willing to grow and you don't like money. And that right there is what flipped the script for me. And I was like, you're right. Why do I want to hide in the closet and not freaking, talk about woodworking or, or meet people? Why do I just want to, I'm never going to get anywhere. So yeah, I think if you're committed to your business, you should definitely join this network. And it's going to make you grow as a person. No doubt. No doubt in my mind.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Hey, tell everybody your website so they can go and check out your work.
Yeah, it is capsartistry.com. That's CAPSARTISTRY.com. My name's Cody Powers. You can find me, my personal page on Facebook, and same thing with our business on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it. Check us out.
Thank you so much, Cody, for your time. I really look forward to sharing your story with the Woodpreneur community.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right.